Mute. Here we go.
Moment.
Now we should be going.
Sound
we should be good.
check.
Sound check.
Can we get the sound?
Are we good with sound? I think we might be good now.
Sound check, anyone? All right, we're gonna
let us know. I think we should have sound now, though. Let us know in the comments if you guys are getting sound. So first hiccup of the live.
Okay, let's put the
muted.
camera down. If there is a sound,
okay, now we're good.
We
have
to start again.
Okay, we're good. All right, let's just start it again. I'm just gonna hold the camera.
All right. Hi everyone, and happy Sunday.
Yes, we are baking scones today, and as we mentioned before, where there was no audio, I started off by preheating the oven to 400 degrees. So that's the first thing you want to do is go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees.
Okay, and now we're gonna go over all the ingredients. If you guys not baking with us, by the way, all the ingredients is in the descriptions, are in the description, and you can still hang out with us, chat,
ask
comments,
questions.
Questions, and you know, just hang out and have fun with us.
So let's get baking.
Ingredients first.
Okay, I think the best way for you to do it, Irina, is to pull this out, because it's very, very shaky. If you held it this way, it would not be shaky. Now, let's start. Dry ingredients, all-purpose flour. Then we have baking powder. And as I was saying before, sometimes people get confused between baking powder and baking soda. When I used to bake oatmeal cookies, it calls for baking soda. This is baking powder. Again, all this ingredients are down below. We have just regular salt. Try not to use kind of coarse salt. If you're using a salt cracker, you want to use a fine salt, because you don't want like just, you know, crystals of salt inside the scones. And actually that's it for the dry ingredients. Look at that: flour, baking powder, and salt. And now for wet ingredients, what we're going to need is some rum. This is optional, of course.
And Devon, can we go a little bit more in depth about that rum? Is it regular?
This is
liquor?
Regular white rum. You could use dark rum if you want, just any type of rum. It doesn't really matter, because we don't really use too much of it.
So regular drinking rum?
Yes, regular drinking rum. We have an egg. We have vanilla. And this is also optional. I will use this. This is lemon extract, and this is orange extract. Sometimes you could even find rum extract. I just didn't have any, so I'm using actual, like the real rum, not the extract. But if you use some of this also, it will give the scones a big punch. It's just an additional lemon flavor or orange flavor. You could use both, but you got to use it sparingly. You can't use too much of it. Just a little bit goes a long way, right? And of course, we're going to have a stick of butter. I have that in the refrigerator. Super important, guys. The butter has to be cold. Leave it in the refrigerator until you're ready to use it. That's really important. A lot of recipes that deal with baking will tell you leave the butter out so the butter can come up to room temperature, and that's for that specific whatever it is that you're baking. But for this scones, they need to be cold. Sometimes I even stick it in the freezer 5 minutes before I use it, just so that it's rock solid. And I'll show you why that's important later on. Okay, now let's get started. Oh yes, sugar. We also need sugar. I didn't bring the sugar out. It's not here, but that's a part also of the dry ingredients. Okay. And now, and we can get started. Yeah, the cranberries, we'll get to that. These are all the cranberries, nuts, raisins. Of course, if you have raisins, some people don't like cranberries, you can substitute raisins. It's all optional. So your favorite nuts can go inside of this. This recipe is like really, really flexible. For the icing, we're going to use powdered sugar and some lemons.
Fresh lemon?
Fresh lemon, 1 lemon. Now, if you can't find fresh lemon, you can always use it looks like a lemon, but it's actually just the juice, and you have that in the supermarket. You can use that as well, but this fresh is always best, right? Okay, now let's get baking. If you guys have any questions, just leave it in, drop your questions, and then when we get to a point that we can break, then we are going to actually go through the questions and I'll answer them for you. Give me 1 second and I'll be back. Irina can show the ingredients that we have.
So you actually, guys, all have seen the ingredients. And I just want to say hi to everyone who is joining us. Tanisha is here. Hi, Tanisha. We have Andrew here. Mike is here. Hi, Mike. Cheryl, Vegas, James, all our crew is here. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Morning breakfast time, James said, and coffee time, definitely, but I will make coffee a little bit later. Okay, is Devon ready?
Yes, we are ready.
Okay.
So now we are going to start with the flour. As the recipe called for, we're going to use 2 cups of flour, all-purpose flour. There's 1.
Measuring cups are really useful.
Yes. And normally I don't, whenever I bake or I cook, I normally don't like measuring stuff, but for certain things, especially for baking, you'd be surprised how, if you don't measure, how it can throw the product off slightly. Sometimes it'll be more crunchy, sometimes it'll be more dense. But if you measure it, more than likely it'll come out the same way every single time. So we just added the 2 cups of flour. I'm going to use a pinch of salt. So there you go. Just a little pinch of salt. Balance it all out. I'm going to use a quarter cup of sugar. And this is just regular fine granulated sugar. So you notice a lot of recipes, again, especially when it deals with baking, calls for like a cup of sugar or 2 cups of sugar, not the scones. The scones doesn't really need to be that sweet. And besides, we're going to put frosting on top. So it doesn't need to be sweetened by sugar, that's for sure. And I'm going to
And this
add,
recipe has been modified by Devon
several times
from baking the scones so many times.
Yes.
And we ended up going to what, a quarter cup of sugar?
Yes, because we were at half at one point and it was like, oh, it was too sweet, and then we kind of brought it back. So here I'm just using a teaspoon of the baking powder. I'm just going to put that in.
But again, guys, if you do like super sweet scones, you can go as far as what, a cup of sugar?
Yeah, a half cup.
Half
Yes.
cup of sugar.
Okay, so now just to recap what I've done so far, I've put 2 cups of sugar. I put a pinch of salt.
No, flour.
Flour. I put 2 cups of flour, a pinch of salt, a quarter cup of sugar, and a teaspoon of baking powder. And that's what I have in here right now. And I'm just going to see if I can find the whisk. If not, I'll just use the spoon. And we're just going to show in here,
Yeah,
Irina, how we're just incorporating.
Either here
It's
or
fine.
over
This
there.
is fine.
Okay.
So as you can see, let me get rid of this lower third here 1 second. Okay. So here I'm just basically incorporating the sugar, the flour, the baking powder, and the salt. You just want to just kind of mix that up. If you have a whisk, that would make things even better. Okay. Thank you so much, Vegas. Vegas is in the house. Glad to see you, buddy. Okay, that's
Vegas
all incorporated.
Just send a $5 super chat.
Thank
This
you
is
so
for
much.
Devon actually wearing an apron. Too cool.
Ta-da! And it's a Mickey Mouse one too. Go figure. Okay, so now this is all mixed up, guys. What we're going to do next is we are going to now add the butter at this point. But just before we do that, I want to explain something to you guys. So in the ingredients, I told you guys you can zest an orange. And for those of you who don't know what a zester is, it's kind of, you have these graters. Sometimes it has 4 sides. You see, this is the fine side. So what you would technically do is zest. And if you look down into the bowl, you will see the zest falling in. I don't know if you guys can see that, but look at the back of the grater and you can see that's the zest. That's what gives it the punch. Now, what I've realized over time is that I used to zest my lemons and I used to zest the orange, which is fine. But what happens is the zester makes these really fine peels and it gives it flavor. But what I realized is that I have some prepped right here. If you look at that, this is actually the orange skin that I use. I didn't zest it. I peeled the orange skin and then I actually cut it. So if you see here, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Here's the orange peel. And basically what I do is after I peel it, I then just go ahead and I slice it really thin as I can possibly get it. and then turn it, and then I just kind of cross cut it like this. And watch those fingers. If you have a zester, you can go ahead and use the zester. This is more work, but personally, for me, as Irina said, we've gone through this recipe so many times, and what I find is when you cut the orange peel like this in these cubes end up in a scone, and when you bite into them, they explode in your mouth with flavor, and it gives it like a really big kick. So I really enjoy that, and that's the reason why I choose to do it this way. But again, you could use a regular zester and just go ahead and just zest your lemon, and it's a done deal. It's a much faster process.
Mike is saying, where is JBO apron?
Yes, I have to get my, yeah, exactly. That's a good question. Okay, now let me just go back in here and just grab this butter really quickly. So I want to show you guys the butter that I'm using. So this is unsalted butter. The reason it's unsalted is because I already added the salt in, and you don't want salt. You don't want to add salt and then use salted butter as well. So unsalted butter, and we use the stick because using stick is always better. It's easier. 1 stick of butter. Put this back in the refrigerator.
Susan is here. Hi, Susan. She says, "Oh my God, love this."
Thank you, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do, again, this is an important process. It's very simple, but it's very important. So as I open the package of butter, I want to put the butter inside the flour. And I'm just going to kind of dredge it, get it coated on each side. So now if you look, the butter is actually coated. And this serves for a purpose, and I'm going to tell you what it is right now. So if you want to come on this side, Irina, for me. So when the butter is coated, the heat from your hand doesn't melt the butter. And as I mentioned before, you want to keep this butter as cold as possible for as long as possible. And as you can see, I'm slicing these. How thick do you think that is, Irina?
This is like 4 millimeters.
Yeah, something like that. And we're just slicing it down. But as you can see, the flour's on my finger, the butter's coated with flour, so the heat from my hand is not really affecting the butter, and it's not melting it. So you just want to kind of dice this up. No, because it's manual, it's already focused.
It's not. It doesn't feel focused to me.
It is.
It is?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we go. Now what you want to do is get these in as soon as possible. What I like to do is just throw in a few. I threw in just 3 slices. Again, I coated them on all sides. And what I do is I have this technique where I just break them into 4. See that? 4 pieces, 4 smaller pieces. So I just continue to do that and break them up. But you see, because the butter is cold, it actually breaks. It just breaks apart, which is exactly what you want. So here I'm just breaking them up into little pieces. This part is the most tedious part of this scone baking recipe, but it's very important.
But it's only 1 stick of butter.
Yep,
You
don't need to do. And the more you do it, the quicker you get. As you can see, I'm just going through it really quickly here, just dunking it in flour. Again, I don't want the heat from my fingers to start melting the butter. I don't want melted, clammy butter in this. I want solid pieces like this. They break apart very crumbly. So we're just breaking them apart. I'm almost done. Again, if you guys have any questions, just drop it in the comments. The moment we get a chance to break, we're going to look at the questions, and I'm going to show you guys different ways you can do this. If you don't have certain things that I stated here, there are some substitutions.
I love that mostly guys actually watching. Yeah. It's like guy cooking show.
So here's all the butter. I've broken them all up. I'm just going to coat them all again. So now here's the process. Once they're all coated, you're going to take each one of these and you're going to just squish. So you see that? I just flattened that one. Here's another one unflattened that I just broke. I'm just going to squish it with my thumb. And you see it becomes very flat. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going in. I'm just feeling my way around, and I'm just squashing them.
Vegas said, hit the like button, guys. Thank you, Vegas.
So I'm just going in. I'm feeling for the ones that are still chunky, and I'm just like using my fingers to just squash them and flatten them. And then we're going to take it one more step further. And then that'll be pretty much majority of the work. This is pretty much, like I said, the most tedious part. As you can see, I'm just going ahead and I'm just squashing them.
Is this what makes the
Irene,
scones
if you
crumbly?
turn the back ring on the lens, the back one, you see it, turn it towards this way so it goes to 4. So it just brightens up a little bit. Go ahead, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning. Good. Okay, there we go. See, that just brightened everything up a little bit more so they can see inside the bowl. So again, guys, I'm just squashing the little chunks of butter that I just broke up. Once you feel like most of them has already been squashed, now we're gonna take it to the next level.
Is this what makes the scones crumbly?
Yes, this is what's gonna give it that nice crumbly texture. Now, I'm gonna take it, and as you can see, there's a bunch of them, the flour. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna push it in my palm, and I'm going to push and press down, almost like this is the action here. It's like you're rubbing like this. So I'm taking the butter, I'm pushing it, and I'm rubbing. One hand goes down, the other hand goes up. And what this does, I'm gonna show you right now, is that, look at this. This is the butter. Look at how thin that is. You're basically flattening the butter into like a sheet. And you just continue doing that again until you feel most of the chunks of the butter. You're not supposed to really feel any chunks of butter. Everything is supposed to be flattened. And all I'm doing, here's the action. One hand goes up while the other hand goes down, and I'm pressing the butter between my palms, and I'm just flattening it, making these tiny little sheets of butter.
Vegas say, so like kneading.
Yeah. Well, kneading would kind of be like this, Vegas. Like this is the motion for kneading. This is kind of like you're squashing and you're pressing and you're pulling back. And you see that? Look at the flakes of butter. Look, I'm peeling it out of my palm. So it makes them very flat. They're no longer chunks anymore. And again,
James says master bake technique.
Yes, this is what makes it. You want to put a little bit of time in this because this is what really makes the scone so nice and decadent. So I'm just going through, I'm feeling it as I'm going along. I'm going through the flour and I'm just doing it. Turn it this way so you guys can see.
Denise is here. She says, I'm representing the females. LOL. Denise, are you baking with us?
Awesome.
Anybody's baking with us?
Yeah, let us know if you guys are baking along.
Or you're just watching and chatting.
Okay. And now it feels to me like there are no more chunks. So now that part of it is done. That is basically the dry ingredients. And then I'm going to add.
Gordon Ramsay, take note.
Okay. So now that we have this butter and flour, we're going to add. So what I did was I zested. As you can see, I took the skin off. And the best way to take the skin off these oranges is by using like a potato peeler. So I just took the potato peeler and and this way you're not getting too much of the pith. The pith of the orange is this white part here. You don't really want that. You want most of just the skin. This is where all the flavor is. And then that's when I showed you guys, I took this, I sliced it into chunks and it came out like this. But of course, again, you can always use a zester and don't have to worry about any of this. So now what I'm going to do is add, this came out to about 1/3 cup. And that was about probably one large orange. So that's good enough. And I'm just going to sprinkle that all in.
Vegas is saying, I'm also representing the young ladies and watching this technique.
That's it. That's it.
Marlene, it is 8 a.m. here in beautiful British Columbia.
Awesome.
Here for the long weekend. Awesome.
So
Welcome.
hopefully
Thank you for joining us.
You guys can go back, watch this video, and bake these scones for the long weekend. That would be awesome.
And when you do, be sure to post and tag us.
Yes, tag us, definitely. Okay, so there we go. Everything is all incorporated. So you don't see too much clump of anything. Now we're going to get into the wet ingredients. This is done. Now you notice I left some of this to the side, and I'm going to show you why I did that. Okay, now wet ingredients.
Believe it or not, guys, but I actually never seen Devon bake it from beginning to end because
You just eat the end product.
because he actually bakes it when I'm sleeping and I wake up and they're already done. So he just beat one egg here. He has a fork. This is overblown. Let me adjust this.
Back ring.
There you
There we go. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now we're going to use, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, this is whipping cream, and this is what gives the airiness and the decadence to the scone. This is everything right here, whipping cream. Try to get your hands on this. It's awesome. So I'm going to use a 1/4 cup. My hands are right here, so I'm just going to open it this way. Pardon me, not a 1/2 cup.
Just dry your hands right there, the towel.
I'll get it. It's just really slippery. I should have opened this before I even started. Okay. I need a scissor to open this.
Just.
It's all right. I'm just going to cut it. It's fine. So yes, we're going to do a 1/2 cup of the heavy cream. And here we go. What I normally do, a trick is that I always crack my egg inside before I add the milk and everything else, because what happens sometimes eggs do spoil and you don't realize it. And if I added my heavy cream, my regular milk, you know, the rum, the vanilla and everything else, and then I crack my egg and then I realize, whoa, that egg is bad, then all that is just a waste. So I always crack my egg first to make sure the egg is good. From there, I'm going to add the 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of just regular milk. You can use 1%, 2% whole milk, whichever you choose. Here's a 1/4 cup of that. Okay. And now this is the part where if you choose to punch this up even to another level, I have extract here, and the supermarket where we are, they have so many different types of extract: coconut extract, orange, lemon, and of course, because this is citrus, I have already used a lot of orange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the lemon extract. I do have fresh lemon here also that I can squeeze, but I find the extract to be a little bit more potent, so I just use a little bit of it, and as you can see, this is going to equal maybe a 1/4 teaspoon. That's it. That's enough. And here I'm also going to add the Sunday Morning Delight. Let me cover the label so we're not affiliated, but this is rum, guys. This is just white rum. You can use dark rum. I prefer the white rum. And again, this is to taste however you choose when you wake up, however you want to roll. But I would say about a teaspoon would be fine. And then I'm going to go ahead up.
And you can just use a fork or a regular whisk.
Mm-hmm. So just incorporate everything. And I'm going to add now just a touch of vanilla extract. Again, that's about 1/2 tablespoon. Again, the recipes, all the ingredients for the recipes are below this video in the description. We're just going to mix that all up. Let me brighten it up. It's still a little dark. Okay.
Mike is saying, did someone give Islander Chris a wake-up call? We're actually, Hawaii is 6 hours behind, so it is way too early.
Way
it's
too early
actually
for Chris.
5:30 in the morning in Hawaii. So, yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
So now we have the dry ingredients in here. Again, to recap, we have the flour, we have the salt, we have the sugar, we have the baking powder, we have butter, and we have the zest of 1 orange all in there. It's all incorporated. And now we're adding the wet ingredients, which is the whipping cream regular milk, vanilla, orange extract, and a little bit of rum. And we're just going to pour that all in. And again, guys, the oven has been is being preheated. It's at 400 degrees. And this would be perfect use for us. If you have a spatula, this is probably the time you would want to use it. I don't have one right now because we haven't really finished unpacking everything yet here in my mom's new apartment. So as you can see, all that ingredients, I'm just basically just working it in and incorporating it. And we want to get all that moisture to be completely absorbed. You're going to have, as you're doing this, you're going to have patches of parts that are really dry and patches that are wet. So you just want to continue just working it. Again, a spatula would be perfect because then you'd be getting all that stuff from around the side of your bowl. This is a ceramic bowl, so it doesn't really stick too much. But if you had like a plastic bowl, it would probably stick more. And guys, as I'm incorporating this, do you see the consistency? You see how it already looks
clumpy.
Very clumpy. It's because everything is basically coming together. And again, I'm just using a fork here to just incorporate everything.
Vegas is saying Chris is 2 or 3 hours behind, so he's probably knocked out. Chris is 6 hours behind. Remember, we are in New York. California is 3 hours behind us, and Hawaii is 6 hours behind.
So as you're doing this, you can see all the bits and pieces of oranges, and that's what's going to give it the kick. And I still see all the fine, thin sheets of butter in there.
Vegas is asking, was there a rum substitute?
Is there a rum substitute? Well, you don't have to. A substitute you might want to use is cognac. Actually, you can actually substitute cognac instead of rum, and that would give it a lot of flavors as well. Because I think there's also orange flavored cognac, if I'm not mistaken, like Cointreau, I think is one you can use. So anything that'll enhance Grand Marnier, right? Anything that'll enhance the orange flavor would work fine as well. If you don't want to use rum, you can.
Or you can use rum extract, or you do not have to use any liquor at all.
Right, you don't have to use nothing
liquor
at all.
Flavor.
Okay, can you zoom in on this? So as you can see, I worked it enough now where basically the bowl is clean and everything is, there's just a few strands kind of hanging out, a little bit of crumbs, but it's all coming together, which is exactly what you want. Now, for some reason, if you're doing this, you're at this point and you have a whole bunch of dough like just sticking on the side, then that means you probably made it too wet. So that's not a problem. You can always take a handful of flour, sprinkle it inside of it, and then try to get it to this consistency where eventually I'm going to be able to pull this out the bowl and the bowl will be clean because everything will just stick together perfectly. One thing you don't want it to be too wet and you don't want it to be too dry. But right now, it's just like, this is perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, let's clean up here a little bit, make some space. Because we're almost at the end, guys. We're almost ready to pop this bad boy in the oven.
Brooke Clara say, love the Mickey Mouse apron.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so
now we need to make space.
Yes, we need to make the space. We're gonna get a little dirty here. So I'm gonna take some of this flour. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit here, just to make sure that there's no sticking. And I'm just gonna dump this on here. See, as I told you before, you see how everything just comes right out?
Like a one bowl.
Look at the bowl. The bowl is clean. If there's any flour residue or anything here that it's, like I said, it's very sticky. If it sticks to your hand, it is too wet. You need to add a little bit of flour. Don't be afraid to add more flour. So here, this came out actually perfect. So as I'm moving it around, if it was sticking to my hand, I would just go add some flour, throw it on here, and then continue working with it. So now what I'm doing, I'm just flattening it out. So this is our base right now. We're almost at the finish line. So as you can see, I can pick the whole thing up. That's the consistency you want, and it holds. It's slowly slipping out of my hands, but this is the consistency you want, right? So now.
Wow, Mike is paying attention. Vegas is asking what's the temperature for the oven.
The oven is
and
400.
how long you bake it. And Mike already knows it's 400.
400 degrees. Now every oven is a little bit different. I found out. I've made this at friends' homes, and their ovens are different. Right now, this is a new oven because my mom just moved into this apartment, and I'm not using her oven. She's going to be moving her oven into this apartment. But this one, I'm going to keep an eye on it. Normally, I would want to say anywhere between 12 to 15 minutes is the cooking time at 400 degrees. So 400 degrees, 12 to 15 minutes. Keep an eye on it, and I'm going to show you what it's supposed to look like when it's done. You don't have to brown this. This does not brown. So back to this part. Now, here is where you want to add whatever floats your boat. If you want macadamia nuts, if you're feeling Hawaiianish and you want to add macadamia nuts because that's what you love, then that's what you use. Here is the traditional, just walnuts. And I'm just going to.
The one actually, when we were in Hawaii, had made scones with macadamia nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel macadamia nuts are a little too buttery for this.
Yeah, but macadamia nuts they don't have that crunch. So here, this is all to taste, guys. I'm going to take it from the top, Irina, so I could show them something. So as you can see, I spread out the nuts all the way around the outsides. You don't want anything to be clumping too much in the middle. You don't want it too much on the ends. Just basically spread everything out and push it in. So I'm just, once I get it into position, everybody in the pool, I just kind of just push it down. Now, I'm going to add the cranberries. Now, what we found out is fresh cranberries. Personally, Irene and I, we love fresh cranberries. But of course, it's seasonal. It's around October is when, Thanksgiving, right? You can get fresh cranberries. But it's really hard to find any other month. If you can get fresh cranberries, use it. It's awesome because they burst.
Is fine too.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. So these are just dried cranberries. We got these from Walmart. And as you can see, again, same technique. I basically put them in and I spread them out completely. I didn't clump them all in the middle or anything like that because you don't want just all the goodness in the center of the scone. You want it throughout the scone. And then I'm going to press down again.
It will also work with fresh blueberries or frozen blueberries.
Yes, absolutely.
Marlene says, oh man, that looks good.
Wait till it comes out. Okay.
Who knew walls had nuts?
Okay, I like that one. Okay, so there you go, guys. Everything is evenly spread. Here's the technique. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab a side and we are going to fold it over once. You see that? So everything is underneath in this layer. And then that's why you need to press it down, because if you don't press them down, they're all going to fall out when you flip them. So again, I'm feeling the texture and I notice it's a little, some is really sticking on my hand. It's feeling a little sticky. So all I'll do is I'll grab a little bit of flour and I'm just going to just sprinkle some flour on top. I don't want that stickiness. I want it to be nice and dry. Okay, I pat it down again and I go for round 2. Now this way, this guarantees that every bite you take will have the walnuts and cranberries in every single bite. And that's exactly what you want. So I'm just going to go ahead. And with this one, you don't have to be that precise because you already did the first layer, which is covered from end to end. I'm going to grab some cranberries. My mom loves cranberries, so I always load it up. And of course, like I said, this is all to taste. If you don't like that many cranberries, don't put that many cranberries.
If you like blueberries like I do,
then you load it up with blueberries. The more the merrier. Okay, good. So now here we go. I flatten it out again and press them in because we're going to go one more time. Doesn't matter from which direction you fold. And you just fold it over. Again. There you go. Now, you folded it over twice. You see some of the flour is sticking to the surface. So again, you just want to flour a little. You want to kind of keep this kind of dry. And now, check this out. This is like you're making kind of like a pizza. So what I'm doing, I'm pushing down and I'm using my hand as a buffer to stop it so it doesn't go past the palm of my hand. And I'm just pressing down and I'm making it even. So I'm making the thickness even by just pushing down.
Making a circle.
And I'm eventually working it into a circle. And what would you say the thickness of this is? Is it about 1/4 inch, an inch?
I think it's a little bit more than an inch, like 1.25 inches, I would say. Vegas says, yum, I would add raisins too.
Yes, absolutely. The only reason I don't add raisins is because Irina and my mom, they're not really fond of raisins. But if I was making this for myself, yes, I would add raisins. Actually, if you wanted to add, you know, when they have these Christmas cakes, they have these dried fruits. You can actually add dried fruits in this as well. I haven't tried it, but I really want to try it. I want to see what it tastes like because I love dried fruits, and I think that would be awesome. Okay, so there you go. There's the shape. It's kind of like a pizza. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to add these sliced almonds. And this, as you can see, this is how it looks. They're just almond slices. They're very thin. They're shaved. And this is what gives it, again, optional. This is what gives it texture. So we're building layers, guys. So all I did, evenly spread them out on top. Not too much because you don't want it to be, again, it's really up to you. If you love almonds, then yeah, go ahead by all means. I don't put too much. Again, it's just for texture. It's not even for taste. And I just pat them in, make sure they stay. And then I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to cut this like a pizza. I'm going to go one way, then I'm going to go across, and then in sections. And again, this will be another test because when you cut through, if the knife comes out clean, then it's the right dryness. If it starts sticking to the knife and it's caught, it starts to, the dough pulls out, then that means it's a little bit too wet. So just something that you want to, you know, eventually after making it a few times, you get the hang of and you get the right consistency. It's not going to make or break the scones, but it's just something to know. See, the knife comes out pretty clean. Add it across, and now I'm going to go in between each one, just like cutting a pizza, and I'm going to cut each one individually.
Vegas says, oh, love sliced almonds.
Yes. So Vegas, you can add as much sliced almonds as you choose. So there you go. That's it. Done deal. Now, what we're going to do is we have a baking sheet here.
Just going to show you the thickness of it. See, it's maybe about 1 inch, or it could be 1.25 inches.
Right, because this is actually going to raise as it cooks. Right now, you might think it looks flat, but they're going to puff up, right? Because of the baking powder. That's what makes it puff. So this part I added in the description, I added parchment paper. If you have parchment paper, this is where you would now line the baking tray with parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, because it could be a little bit pricey, and if you're not really baking much, it doesn't make any sense to go out and buy it. But 9 out of 10 times you will have butter. All I did was I took a little napkin, put some butter on it, and I'm just going to just coat the pan. I'm just going to wipe the butter throughout the pan. And this works perfect as well. The scones will definitely not stick. And again, you're only doing this because you don't want the scones to stick to the pan if you don't coat it. I'm thinking you could probably spray butter as well. If you have some people, they just use butter as a spray. You can do that as well, as long as there's some type of oily substance on the pan. So there you go. That's good to go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put each one of these. You see, I can lift it up right off the countertop here, and they're really not sticking. And you just kind of space them off a little bit because, again, remember, they're going to puff up.
Vegas says, I'm greedy. I need 2. Well, you and Devon's mom.
Yes, she eats. Sometimes she'll eat 3 of these things. It's incredible. And she knows she's not supposed to. She knows she's going to feel bloated and overstuffed and she just can't help herself. So yeah.
James Sage slices a meal. Yum.
Yes, really nice. Okay, so this is what it looks like, guys. And now this is ready to go into the oven. I usually put it on the middle rack because I know for some people it matters. If you put it too low, it'll get brown really quickly. I usually just have the rack in the middle and we'll pop them in. And this is where I use my trusty phone. Siri, set timer for 12 minutes. Okay, timer set for 12 minutes. And now that's when we're going to check on it. That's the lowest cooking time. Because after that, it probably won't be done. I'll probably need to add another 2-3 minutes. But at least at that point, I could tell. Remember, each oven is different as far as temperature settings. So now I'm just going to clean up really quickly. And we're going to get into mixing the frosting. See, I need to have like my own cooking show where I can have someone come in and do all this. And or I could just move to another part of the kitchen. But unfortunately, we're not there yet. Let me know if you guys want to see more cooking recipes from us, and maybe we'll put it together for you guys.
Yeah, and this kitchen is not the most convenient to shoot either.
Yes, exactly.
It's so narrow.
It's very narrow. Okay, good. Now everything is in the oven. Now we're going to get a bowl. Let's get a bowl. We have a bowl, and what we're going to add is the powdered sugar. So this is what it looks like if you've never seen. It's also known as confectionate sugar or confectioner sugar. I think that's how you pronounce it. But yes, powdered sugar. I'm going to add this is literally the icing on the cake, guys. Well, on the scone, I should say. Okay, so here's a cup, roughly a cup of powdered sugar. Now, if you can't use fresh lemon at this point, use it. If not, use what you have. So I'm just going to roll this out so we can get all the juices flowing out of it. And we're going to start with, remember, this is 1 cup of sugar. We're going to start with a half of a lemon. So I'm just going to squeeze, make sure.
And if you have the lemon squeezer, you can also use it.
Yep.
Your mom has it.
This lemon actually doesn't have that many seeds. Lemons have tendency to have a lot of seeds. This one, I haven't come across one seed yet. I'm just using my fingers to filter and to catch any seeds. Wow, this is a seedless lemon. Go figure. Yep, squeeze the whole half lemon. And no seeds. Perfect. Okay. What am I looking for here? All right. Now we're going to take a fork.
Andrew says, I have such a mess now. Thanks, Devon. Andrew, you're making it with us.
That's awesome. That's a process. See? So there we go. You see the lemon, the fresh lemon here that I squeezed? You just have to continuously work this back and forth slowly, and you'll see what this turns into. Now, I started with a half a lemon because I want to gauge it. I don't want to add too much liquid from the lemon first, and then all of a sudden this becomes too watery, because this also has to have the right consistency to it. You don't want it to be too watery because it's just going to flood all over the top of the scones when we put them out. You want it to have a nice thick consistency. So as you can see, it's now sticking. Just a half a lemon with a cup of sugar, and look how it's. Now I can already tell this is already too thick. So I'm going to have to add a little bit more lemon. But again, it's just a starting point. I'm going to make sure I try to get all the powder incorporated with the lemon juice. So as you can see, this is just too thick. See that? That's like a plop, right? So we don't want that. What we're going to do.
We're making icing for the scones,
yes,
and the icing needs to run a little bit.
So I'm just adding a little bit more lemon, a few squeezes at a time now, because I'm really working at trying to get the right consistency. And a little lemon, a little liquid in the sugar goes a very long way. So I'm just working it in. And Pulling it up, as you can see the consistency of it. It's almost there. I'm going to add a little bit more, just a few more squeeze. Definitely one whole lemon. The juice of one whole lemon would be too much, and this would become too watery, and we don't want that.
But if it's too much, they can always add more.
Right.
Sugar.
Yeah. If you made a mistake and it becomes too liquidy, then you can always add more sugar. You really can't go wrong. But you see how now it's nice and it's getting creamier. You see, and this is the texture you want. This is how you want it. So when you're putting it on the scones, it just oozes across the top. You see that? It's almost like a soft serve ice cream. So that's the texture you want. There we go. Okay, and that's done. So now I'm going to do a little cleanup. Now's a perfect time. If you guys have any questions you want to ask or anything you want to talk about, you can get into it. Irina, I don't know if you want to set up.
I smell it.
Yeah, you already smell it. Yeah, it's only been, what? It's been only a couple minutes and you can already smell it. So I'm going to do a little cleanup here. And again, if you guys want to ask any questions, again, I still haven't used this little bit that I have here, but this is what's going to go on top. If you wanted to, you can actually just put the rest of this in here and then put it on top. But I actually like to drizzle this, wait for it to cool a little bit, and then add a little bit of sprinkle. Makes it kind of like that, gives it that gourmet touch. And again, these little orange peel, these little crystals that we cut makes a world of a difference. It really gives it an orange punch. And of course, with the lemon, it's awesome. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, now would be the time. We're waiting for the cooking process to be finished.
Put the camera down finally.
Yes, I know Irina's arms must be
yep, I'm
tired. I got you. Irina doesn't know how to work the equipment. She's struggling.
Ooh,
there we go.
It's been a workout, guys.
It's been a workout day. Okay, we're just framing things up here. Give me a second, guys.
I'm gonna read comments. Devon, where did you learn how to cook? Mike is asking.
That's actually a good question. I just had to start cooking for myself, and I really enjoyed it. And I started out cooking, you know, just simple things like eggs, but I always enjoy cooking things, basic things, and giving it a twist.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that all came about. And then I've always been a steak lover. I don't eat steak as much anymore, but if you watched our vlogs, you'll see I always go for tomahawk steaks when we go out. I go for really prime cuts.
Oh, the camera is moving.
Oh, that's why. No wonder, because it's not locked. No wonder. We see the camera moving and then like, wait a minute, did you change position of it? Something is not locked. Hold on, give me a second, guys. I apologize. Let's lock this down. It should be good there.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes. So that's why I started cooking, and then of course cooking for Irina. I enjoyed doing that as well. And when we were in Hawaii and during the lockdown, that's when I really like stepped it up, and I was cooking lobsters and bronzino, fish, all different types of fish, salmon, and I really kind of expanded on, you know, my knowledge of cooking, and I really do enjoy it. It's relaxing for me, and I love cooking for people in general. So.
And I actually really love scones.
And she really loves eating, is what she meant to say.
And the one is like every time we try something outside and I really like it, or the one really likes it. By the way, when we eat it, the one is like, this is good. I can taste this ingredient. I can taste that ingredient. And he's like, I can make it for you.
Yeah.
So whenever I like something, I'm like, oh, this is so good. And Devon is like, oh, I can make it for you. And next thing you know, he really does make it. And if it doesn't come out perfectly on the first time, he masters the recipe, he adapts, he changes, and he knows what his mistakes were from the previous times of cooking, and he just ends up making it perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just keep trying, and then, you know.
Oh, guys. I keep saying guys. Sorry. Friends.
Yes.
Friends. We need to learn how to say friends instead of guys, because we have everyone watching us, right? So my favorite dessert is chocolate lava cake.
Oh, that's another one.
And Devon had perfected it, and this is actually
we
really
call it
good.
Drunken lava cake, because I cook with a lot of rum. In Belize, I guess that in Belize there's rum cakes. Also in Bahamas where we were, there's a lot of rum cakes. We cook with rum a lot. And actually, if you wanted to, I didn't this time. If you wanted to, when I was mixing the frosting and I added some lemon juice, you can also add a little bit of rum. And I'm talking, when I say a little bit, maybe a half of a teaspoon of rum. And again, that just takes and elevates the flavor that much higher. It's really great. I'm gonna take a quick look.
Andrew said that I'll put a photo on Instagram for you. Yeah, we're so excited.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. James is asking, Russian cooking with Irina? Good food.
Here we go.
When it gets colder. Well, I usually don't really cook. The only time I cook Russian food is when Devon is really craving something specific, and there are no stores or restaurants to find it or supermarkets. Then I'm like, okay, he really wants it. I have to cook something. But what I cook mostly is like breakfast and salads. What she makes
great is salads. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm not a big salad eater. I would skip on salad all day, every day. But when she makes a salad, it gets elevated to the next level. She takes the simple salad, and she would add cranberries and almond shavings and goat cheese and mangoes and beets or pineapple. Oh, her salad is bomb. So if you guys want to make a salad with Irina for you healthy eaters, let us know. And who knows, maybe we get her on camera next and have her put together a salad. I think that would be really cool. Let us know in the comments if you guys want to make salad with Irina, her elevated salad.
Andrew said I use cranberry extract. I use strawberry extract, the only one I had besides lemon.
Okay, that's fine
cool
too.
Flavor.
It'll give it another flavor, but it doesn't really change the consistency of it. That just, will contribute to the flavor of it, and that's perfectly fine.
Vegas says, yes, lava cake.
Oh, yes, the lava cake is a problem. Drunken lava cake. But that one is a little, sometimes I haven't baked it in a while. And sometimes with lava cake, the way Irina really likes it, especially when we go to restaurants, is it has to have the lava. So the taste test, as she always does when we're in restaurants, she will cut into it with the fork or with the spoon. And if it doesn't ooze that lava, it's a bad experience.
Ooh,
there we go.
What time it is?
We're at the 12-minute mark. I set my timer for 12 minutes. I'm just going to take a quick look at it. Because again, as I mentioned, all ovens are different. So the cooking time now really gets crucial. 12 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes, depending on your oven. So I'm looking at it now. They're still a little pale in color. Now, something very interesting to know is that you don't want these to be totally brown. They're not cookies. They're supposed to be pale in color, but at the very back end of the scones, you want to see a little bit of browning going on, because the moment you take it out of the oven and you place it on a rack or something to cool, it's actually still cooking. So you don't want to overcook it, because then it becomes too brittle and too dry. That you don't want. So at this point, 12 minutes in is where you really want to start keeping an eye on it. Check it every 2 minutes. And then when you see the edges of the scone all the way around, gets that nice light golden brown color, that's when you want to pull it out. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like just within a couple minutes.
Jared is here. He said, I heard that your friend Jay taught you. Welcome, Jared. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for joining us for this live. Again, this is like kind of not a last minute thing. We kind of pre-planned it, but I didn't really think much people would be coming in. But again, I know a lot of people will try cooking along later on. And I hope you guys watch the video or share it with friends and family who loves baking or want to try something different. These are awesome in the morning with a cup of coffee. Oh man, orange juice.
Speaking of coffee, we should actually make coffee. Marlene is saying, haha, lucky you were able to maintain your weight. Doesn't look like you have gained weight even after you like to cook and bake.
It's a little difficult sometimes, but it's really cool though. And also we enjoy cooking just because when we're traveling, if you eat out a lot, more than likely you're gonna tack on some pounds, even though you're kind of here, there, and everywhere. But also it saves us money at the end of the day, because now all we need to do is find a supermarket and we can get these things. I can bake these scones, as you can see. I think there's 8 slices in it. That will last us about maybe 2 days, 3 days if we stretch it out.
Actually,
So-
tell them how we save them to
Oh,
make them last
yes.
longer.
So for example, this came with, after I cut them up, it came out to 8 slices. So sometimes we don't want to bake them all in just one shot like
because
I'm doing
it's
now.
only 2 of us.
Because it's only Irina and I. So what we'll do is we might bake 4 or we'll bake 2. The other slices, we can actually take them and put them in a Ziploc bag and you can store them in the freezer. So you can make multiple batches of this, put them individually in a Ziploc bag and store them in the refrigerator. When you're ready for in the freezer, when you're ready for them, you take them out, pop them, preheat your oven, pop them in once it reaches the right temperature, and you're good to go.
Oh, I'm sorry, Vegas. I
there.
missed your question before. He's asking, do you have to do a toothpick test?
No, you don't have to do a toothpick test with this. If you choose to, you can. But again, it's only like literally they're about this thick. When they go in, they blow up to about that thick. You'll see them as they come out right now. You don't need to do a toothpick test. And for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, basically when you bake a cake, now a cake is actually raises much higher. So what you would want to do when you think it's done, you take it out and you stick a toothpick in it. If you pull the toothpick out and it's wet, that means the center, because you want to poke the cake in the center, that means it's still wet. It hasn't been cooked fully yet. But if you pull the toothpick out and it's dry, you're good to go. With scones, no need.
James is saying, друзья, хорошие друзья, instead of guys. Yes, James. That's awesome that you know that. Vegas says, yes, I love a huge salad with mixes of fruits and carrots and avocados and tomatoes. Yes.
So so this is what I'm going to do, guys. Right after this video in the community channel on our YouTube, I'm going to create another poll. I'm saying, would you like to create a salad with Irina's elevated salad? That's what I'm going to call it. It's elevated salad. It's a little extra. And if you guys want to come in and join us with that, we can actually do that maybe on Tuesday. Something very simple. It's really light. It's really healthy. And she does make a bomb salad. And that's coming from someone who's not a salad eater, but her salad, next level. So I'm going to create a poll.
Saying, save me one.
Yes.
Darlene is here. Welcome.
Darlene,
Thank you
yes,
for joining.
welcome.
Good morning, Irina and Devon. Thank you so much.
So you joined us during our scone baking, and it's just about ready to come out the oven. It has about another 2 minutes, and it'll be done. So I set my timer for 12 minutes, and so far it's been about 16 minutes. I'm checking it after 12 minutes. I check it every 2 minutes just to make sure. I don't want to over brown it. You don't want to do that. Otherwise, it becomes too dry. You just want a very light brown color on it. And I think it's just about there. So I'm going to take it out now. I really want to grab the camera for me.
Yeah.
So I could show them.
Ooh, showtime. This is the most exciting part for me. Ooh, the smell though.
The smell in here, guys. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn off the oven. Put on my mitts.
Ooh,
and
they're
here we go.
so beautiful.
Voila.
Wow.
Now, guys, if you look at this really closely, you see how it's just the edges, the little edges that are lightly brown. Over here, it's not really that brown. But again, this is still cooking, so it's just lightly brown around the edges. So what that does is it makes the scone nice and flaky and tender and delicate in this area, but the edges have that nice crisp to it. It's awesome. So roughly that was about maybe 16 minutes cooking time roughly.
But again, it depends on your oven, as the one mentioned before. James says we'll watch now and cook tomorrow. Awesome. We are excited to see
the smell in here, guys.
Yes.
So I want to show you something now. This is the frosting that I just made. As you can see, look at it now. It's very thick because it dried up and the air made it too thick. So now after 12 minutes, you can see the lines of the fork as I pull it. So what you want to do now is make it a little bit more thinner. What I can do, I can squeeze just a little bit more lime juice to get it to the consistency, lemon juice. But since we were talking about rum, what I'm going to do is just add a small capful of rum. So now even the frosting is going to have some of this rum flavor to it, and the taste is going to be amazing, 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 amazing. So see, just that little bit of liquid when you add it to this confectionate sugar, powdered sugar, makes a difference. So you saw how it was sticking to the fork before, and this is what a capful of rum added to it. There you go.
Yeah,
now it's back to the consistency we wanted.
beautiful.
Look at that. Nice and smooth and silky.
Andrew says, doing this on 4 hours of sleep since I
Oh,
was
that's
driving
awesome.
limos till about 1 a.m.
Wow. Okay, so we're just letting these cool for a minute. What I want to do is basically, if you have one of these, this is just basically a cookie rack, a cooling rack, in other words. And what I'm gonna do, make some space here. I'm going to transfer these onto the rack. Now they just came out the oven. They're very hot. And if you have a wide spatula, that would be ideal to use to remove it from here. I'm just using my hands, but I'm being very careful because they're very hot. And not only that, they're very crumbly. So you just want to be careful that they don't break when you do this.
Cheryl says, orange cranberry scones are one of my favorite breakfasts.
Awesome.
We need to try this for sure. James says, drum roll.
So there we go. I'm putting it back on the rack. I transferred it. So now with the rack, air will flow underneath it as well, and then they will all cool off evenly. So we'll give this another 2 minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to top it off with the icing. Now, again, the icing is optional. This is ready to go now. You can eat this the way it is. But, of course, we always try to elevate
icing
flavors.
makes it definitely better.
Yeah, it's icing on the cake, you know, icing on the scones.
Vegas says, no kids allowed to eat.
No, actually, again, the rum in here that I did put in there, you literally, you won't taste it, and you shouldn't taste it. If you taste it, then you actually added too much rum. And it's not about the taste of just one thing overpowering. And again, this is citrus, it's the orange flavor is what you should be tasting. And the lemon from the lemon extract or the lemon juice that you added earlier, the rum is just another layer of complexity, but you shouldn't really add rum. So it's fine for kids. And they would probably eat it up. Yes, you should not taste rum at all. Okay, so this has been out the oven now for about a minute or two.
And this answers Vegas's question on what do you use to drizzle?
I just use the fork or whatever you have, a spoon. If you want a spoon, you can use a spoon also. And I'm going to show you the technique that I found out. And I found this out just the other day as I was doing it. You know, normally when you go to, say, like pastry shops and you see they drizzle some type of topping on it, like an icing, it's always perfect. Well, that's because they use what's called an icing bag, a piping bag. So they take a plastic bag and it has a nozzle on it, and they fill it with the whatever the topping is, and then they pipe it on so it comes out perfect every time. Now, I don't have a piping bag, but this I found out is better. What you want to do is basically coat you notice these scones are thicker in the back than in the front. But if you place it in the middle, because they're still warm, it'll warm up this icing, and it'll begin to just disperse over the entire scone, and you'll see what it looks like in a second. So you want to come in close. And that's the reason why we don't want to make this too watery. We wanted to make it like a soft serve ice cream. You see that? It's just perfect. All right, now here we go. I'm just going to drizzle this. This is the part my mom really likes also. You want to get in close on this, Irina? So here I'm just putting it on. I'm just drizzling it on, and you'll see what it looks like. So you see I covered most of the top, and you see how slowly it's oozing, pushing it a little closer so they can see how slowly it's actually going down. Is it focus? Okay, let's change. You got it? Okay, that's what you want. So here I'm gonna do a second one. I just kind of put a blob in the middle and just kind of move it around, and I let it do all the work for me. It's gonna go along the sides, and it's going to spread over the top. So we're just going to do that with each one of them. Some of them are a little bit bigger than others, so you just judge on how much icing. My mom loves the icing on top, so I usually make enough to.
Vegas says, I was thinking of that bag.
Yeah, the piping bag. If you have it, it'd be awesome.
Oh, Darlene's saying try to use a Ziploc bag.
Yes.
Good idea.
Use a
cut
Ziploc
the corner
bag, cut
and
the
drizzle.
corner. That'd be perfect. But again, I know this will all run all down the sides. So And if you had a spatula, that would work really great here too, because there's a lot of goodness that I can't get out of the fork using the fork. So I'm going to switch it up. I don't have a spatula, unfortunately, but I'm going to use a spoon. So here we go. Show this one some love. Yeah, spatula would be perfect here. Okay, and then you can always go back and just, if some of them have more than others, just go back and use all the icing that you made.
You can always make a little bit more.
Yeah, you could always make more. I use the cup. You can use a cup and a half, whatever it is, it's fine. And now what I'm going to do is, remember these that I made earlier that I cut up? Now I'm just going to take a few of them. I'm just going to drizzle them on top. And you want to do that as soon as possible because it's still wet. Once the icing dries up, then it'll be hard for it to stick.
And this icing dries up really fast.
And it dries up very fast, exactly. So this, you just want a little bit. It's just a hint of
extra bites.
Extra bites, yes, of flavor. And there you have it.
Camera is really hot.
Yes. The scones. Voila. And now they're going to cool. We're going to give them maybe another 2-3 minutes. And these are ready to eat because they've already been cooled down. We're just now waiting for the icing to just kind of harden up a little bit. As Irina mentioned, it happens really quickly. And I'm going to break one open for you guys. And I'm going to show you just how crumbly it is. And oh, it's going to be so good.
Set the camera.
What's that?
Set the camera.
Up here?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
I'm going to turn this around. Yeah, because she wants to eat.
Ooh.
She wants me to hold now and set the camera.
And I also want to make coffee.
So I'm going to get really close to this so you guys can see what it looks like. Let me change the focus here. Look at that. Oh, this is food porn, guys. Look at that. Irina went to get the kettle and she's putting on some water. She's about to make some coffee. Look at all the cranberries. Look at this.
Making coffee. Anybody wants coffee?
Anybody wants coffee? Look at that. You see the layers that's built in here? Every bite, you're going to get walnuts. You're going to get the cranberries. You're definitely going to get bits and pieces of the orange and the lemon from the zest from the lemon. These actually came out really awesome. Really, really, really nice. And again, we're going to break one open and I'm going to show you just how delicate they are. They're so good. Oh my gosh. My mom is like, I know she smells it already. Okay, let me turn the camera down.
Yeah,
here.
It's always too
guys.
Reserved for mom for morning, and we're only allowed to have one at a time because for the next day she has to have more.
Yeah, so yeah, we try not to eat her out. So
and remember how Devon mentioned that he freezes some of the dough that is left over that is already cut in pieces. So before we leave for our full-time travel, guys, he's actually going to make several batches for his mom so she can bake it in the morning and can have her.
Yeah, that's what we did the last time when we visited from Hawaii during the holidays. We came here and we made like 2-3 batches and we just left them in the freezer. And I told her, whenever you're ready, all you need to do is just preheat your oven, pop them in 12 to 18 minutes, and it's a done deal. So make it easy, and it's a really good way to keep them. And they store up to, I would say, probably up to about maybe 3 weeks to a month. So yeah, that's really cool. So Irina, you want to do a taste test?
Yeah.
Okay.
They already cooled down?
Yeah, they already cooled down.
All right.
So Irina's gonna do a taste test here. You're gonna break it open.
Yes.
Let's get in close on that. Yes. Look at that. Oh, it's awesome.
Still I can hot. Feel the texture. Yeah, they're a little too hot, but very crumbly. Guys, friends, I'm sorry. I'm training myself. These are better than any bakery. I'm telling you. After Devon learned how to make these scones, anywhere else we have tried them, these are so much better.
As you can see, they're pretty big. They really expanded, really nice and big. See them on the inside. You see, look at that all through. You see cranberries. You see the the walnuts. You see the orange zest. Yes.
Look, they're falling apart, so crumbly. You see how crumbly they are?
So yeah.
What do you guys think of the recipe? I know some of you already decided to make it tomorrow. Marlene says looks delicious. Daja Girl says yes, please. Yes, coffee with amaretto cream and sugar.
Yes. So again, that pretty much is it, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Let me just turn the camera down here. Sorry. And you know, thank you guys for joining. And I hope you really try this. It's really awesome. They are really, really great. I'm gonna try it now.
Vegas says, and 2 scones with my coffee.
Yeah.
James says coffee, please.
It's really crunchy on the edges, and then you get the texture of the walnuts on the inside. You get the bites, little orange spikes of the orange peel that's in there. It's so good. All right, guys, make sure you try this. If you do, tag us on Instagram, take a photo of it, tag us on Instagram, let us know you tried it. And if you enjoyed it and you guys want to continue this kind of live cooking, maybe we can do it again. As I mentioned, I'm going to do a post on our community channel, and I'm going to ask if you guys want to try Irina's salad recipe.
And the Van makes bomb chicken quarters.
Oh, chicken quarters, crispy skin, tender, juicy chicken quarters. Wow. Yeah, we can go on and on this. This could be a thing. But again, it's all up to you guys. We're not going to create any content that you're not interested in. So I'm going to leave a comment below this video. Let us know what your thoughts were, if it helped you out, if you tried it, how did it go? If you have any issues, reach out to us on Instagram, because we're very responsive on Instagram. Just say, hey, I tried your orange scone recipe. For some reason, it came out very soggy, or whatever the situation might be, and we're going to find and we're going to fix it for you. And we're going to make sure you get it right.
Wow, Andrew, you are awesome. We already got a picture on Instagram from Andrew baking with us. We will post your scones as well. Look, guys, Andrew just made it. Wait, I can't. No,
you can't see it because it's overblown.
Wait, let me.
There you go. There you go.
Bam, that's Andrew's scones. This is awesome.
Nice.
Great job. I'm so excited, guys. Friends, you're awesome. You are so awesome.
Let me see the photo. This is awesome, Andrew.
Hold on, let me open.
That's so cool. He's cooking live with us, and he took a bite too. He already took a bite. This is so cool.
Andrew, how's the texture turned out?
So where are we at?
James said, I want to know how Andrew's turned out really awesome.
Really cool.
Daja Girl says, I'm excited for your cooking videos. Thank you.
This is really, really cool. Really enjoyed it. So again, guys, reach out to us on Instagram. Let us know. Tag us friends. Yes, reach out to us on Instagram. Let us see your scones that you baked. And again, any questions, always reach out to us. Ask us, whether it's below this video or on Instagram. And we will get you sorted out and make sure you make the best citrus scones you can make. And
this Friday we did our usual Friday live, and we announced that we are going to Europe. June 6th, we're flying to Portugal. And if you have any suggestions for us on things to do and what to see and what to eat, let us know. Leave comments, reach out to us on Instagram. Maybe you are from Portugal, or you've been there, or you used to live there. Let us know. Well, we're going to have coffee with our
cups are empty at the moment, and we need to fill it.
And we thank you for joining. And as usual, it was so much fun hanging out with you and chatting, even though I think only Andrew, right, was cooking with us. But it still was a lot of fun chatting with you, and that's all our lives are about. We want to get to know you. We already know our usual crew, and we thank you all for joining us.
We support our members also. For those who actually support what we do, we thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you so much. It was a fun life. Let's wrap it up
Yes.
and have some scones. I'm
Yes.
starving.
Cheese. See you guys in the next one.